Last season.
It was 69 something.
Oh, was it? Yeah. So it's pretty close to the same.
Yeah, it was in.
Hello, Mr. Wolf, how are you?
You're probably fine with it.
Mr. Durr, how are you this evening?
Supervisor? Good to see you, sir. Are you sure? How do you know that again? What did you do? You're so sure that. Why, what did you got planned for not? I don't know. That would have been in, November or so, 2015. You know, when you used to do a document search, I just did a search myself. When we first started using document finder, I just searched on salt, it came up with Canada. If I clicked on another document, it would jump in the document and push me to the word salt.
Oh, did it? Okay.
It doesn't take me to the word salt.
I can check on that though.
I mean,
I have
it's
to
just
follow
really
my-
convenient, and I'd say maybe 2 or 3 months ago, it stopped doing it.
Yeah, that would make it a lot easier finding stuff in there.
And, I know that they just did an upgrade on it, so they might have turned something off.
The upgrade wiped it out. Also, I had an update to my computer. I updated it, and it told me my accounting software is not supported by that update. Luckily, I just backed my computer up like a week ago, so
Back, you know.
yeah. I guess I'll sit with that little reminder that I've got updated.
Right for you.
There is a way that we can, to go to town.
Oh, I've got Apple.
So I know that they.
There's a way to
Up here. Yeah.
get rid of the,
Yeah, no problem, absolutely, no problem at all. Wait, I'm Sean Martin from the.
oh, hi, Larry Wall.
Yeah, good to meet you. Good to meet you.
Brian Fisher, how are you?
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice to see you.
Sure.
Turn wrong.
Sean Martin.
Go ahead.
For Jamie tonight.
Yeah.
No, just my.
No, that's the attorney, but if you send me that seat, you get to charge out a higher rate.
Oh, nice, maybe I'll do that.
Usually he sits at a separate table.
You gotta sit on the floor over here.
On the floor.
Dave, you want to just go back, have you been working through Allison or maybe you want to just go back and maybe. She's there from 5:30, so maybe something that left along the line.
Yeah, unless, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
It's gotta be on the 14th.
Huh?
It's gotta be on the 14th, that's when the state's, and we're gonna be here.
She'd be here early, she wouldn't be late, so.
The 9th wouldn't be very helpful. Do you have your report? Stephanie? Do you want a copy of your report?
Because I don't know where to get it from. After I send it to you, you have it.
Okay.
I'll let Jim.
Looks like a picnic.
Yeah. We should start all of these. dare you? Kyle would be very disappointed.
It's pretty close, I don't remember. It surely is. Right. Oh, they all. They don't tell them how much you want. Right. But now we have to the problem.
Oh, he's
Oh, yeah.
Jamie's. He's
Yeah, we
Jamie's.
met before. Remember Sean
Sure.
Larkey from Full?
Scared me. I just didn't know who you were.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Who's this guy?
See, whispered. Yeah, he's, yes. No.
Seconds. 30 seconds. All right, a minute. What's that? No, it's not. I can handle the cold. All right.
Right, I've got 6:30. Welcome, everybody, to the town board meeting on October 27th, 2016, starting at 6:30 PM. I'd like to call the meeting to order and begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. And Madam Clerk, would you call the roll?
Chairman Merrick,
Present.
Supervisor Fisher,
Here.
Supervisor Wolf,
Here.
Supervisor Radke,
Here.
Supervisor Durr.
And Madam Clerk, have you met the opens meeting law?
Yes, we have.
And we could begin with citizens' comments. And seeing none, we can move on to approval of the minutes from October 13th, 2016. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion, we approve the minutes from October 13th, 2016.
And a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. On to 6, reports. Beginning with the fire department, I see the chief is not here, so we can move on to the sheriff's department. Deputy?
Okay, so as for statistics for September of 2016, we had 101 total calls for service. 20 of which were assisting other agencies or other sheriff's department, on other sheriff's department calls, 16 fire or EMS calls, 43 house or building checks or extra patrols that were requested, 31 citations, 2 written warnings, 18 verbal warnings. For traffic incidents, we had 4 property damage accidents, 3 injury accidents, and 2 hit and runs. And then as far as some other calls, 4 animal cases, 5 noise complaints, and 10 other calls for service, so other offenses were the main ones.
Any questions for the deputy?
I do have a question. I promised a question, like a quick, I don't know whether you know the answer to this or not, but when we look at the statistics here, total call for service, I know you outlined assisting other agencies, but total calls for services, is that just to our assigned deputy for the town? Or if somebody responds to something in the town that isn't our assigned patrol, is that part of the statistic or not, or do you know? That was maybe a common question. One of the answer is it really the statistics for the town of Waukesha, or is it just the statistics for our assigned and responding officer? And if you don't know, that's fine.
Well, at least how I track them, if I don't respond to a call in the town, if someone else takes it, I don't put it on our stat sheet because I don't know about it. So like as far as if like there's one on day shift, obviously we don't add those to the stat sheet. Or if I'm on another call and another deputy would respond, I usually don't add it to the stat sheet because I don't take care of it or handle it.
So this is probably just then from our town of Waukesha responding officers.
Correct.
Thank you.
Good question. Thank you. Any other questions? Thank you, deputy. On to the DPW department report.
Just what you
Supervisor
see, just what you see in the enclosed packet.
Any questions for Supervisor Durr? And move on to the clerk treasurer.
There were, for the Big Bend Court, there were 27 initial appearances, 13 adjournments, 3 motions to reopen, 4 pretrials, 2 trials for the September court. She sent out 58 letters to people that had back delinquent citations. And she wanted to let you know that 4 citations from 2013 were actually paid. With others as well. They had 1 trial that had settled and 12 pretrials. She has sent out approximately 200 letters and sent 58 people or citations to the state collections. We had 2 public records requests, one from Mr. Heinrich. He requested the Board of Appeals tape and draft of minutes from the August 24th Board of Appeals meeting. Mary Magnuson requested documents concerning the appointment of the clerk treasurer. We responded to that, was sent out for clarification. Our non-compliance report that's in front of you had 19 properties on the compliant list, non-compliant list, 5 are in court, 2 were sent for their first 30-day notice. We can't locate the owner to serve the citation. 1 requested an extension today. 1's coming for an extension. 8 new complaints, 1 compliant, and 1 was sentenced. In our capital budget, our revenue is at 96% of the budget, and our expenses are at 41%. Our general fund revenue is at 96%, and our expenses are at 41%. That's interesting. We started absentees already. We've got 9% or 10% of our registered voters already voting on election day, November 8th. I'm going to close the office for other regular business in order to be hands-on on the election. We have 4 laptops that will be used for doing registration directly onto the state system. We are currently looking to start sending our pay stubs electronically instead of paying for all the stubs to go out in the mail. And we hope to complete that by January 1 of 17. That's my report.
Can I just ask one real quick question? I'm looking at expenditures. It looks like the expenditure for garbage collection still really kind of lags where we are through the year. And I think we've asked you that before. Is there an explanation for that or not?
They put it on our charge, and there are times where Advance forgets to put it on the charge. So then the next month, they catch up and they give us two. They do a double payment. But what happens is they put it on our account, on our charge, and then we don't pay that charge until the following month. So we're actually paying the 2 months behind.
Maybe your answer that sometimes they forget to bill us, maybe I shouldn't have even asked the question.
They bill us later, but
Okay.
they catch up, but it's just that sometimes we're not in line.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Do you know offhand which was the non-compliant that we couldn't locate the owner?
Yes, it is, it's on Anoka. It is Velma Adkins. She owns a few properties on Anoka and on Cotton, and we cannot seem to locate her to give her a ticket.
Okay. Any other questions for the clerk? We can move on to new business, assigned permit for Con Oil. Turn over to Mr. Planner.
For those of you that don't know me, my name is Sean Malarkey. I'm filling in for Jamie Rabarchik tonight. He couldn't be here. He apologizes. I work closely with him, so I am familiar with the town of Waukesha and ordinances. So before you tonight is a petition for a sign permit for West 241, South 4145 Pine Hollow Court. It's an 18-acre property zoned I-1, and which is industrial, limited industrial, and C1 conservancy. The petitioner is requesting a sign that displays the logo and the name of the business, Con Oils. It's basically, as far as I understand it, the sign is formed of two parts from the estimate from the sign manufacturer. It's basically one part is the logo and the other part is the lettering for Con Oils. In total, measures approximately 92 square feet. The depth of the sign is stated as 12 inches, will be constructed of wood. The sign will not be internally or externally illuminated. And the sign is on the southeast face of the building, which faces Highway 164. According to the zoning ordinance and the sign code, this particular type of business sign is a wall sign, which requires a permit from an approval from the board and architectural review as well. Wall signs per section 13-2-15F of the town code states that they shall not extend above the parapet wall or top of the roof. They shall not project more than 12 inches from the wall that supports it, shall not exceed 400 square feet of sign area in total for the parcel, and they may be illuminated in accordance with section 13-2-15I. Town planner has no issue with the particular sign as proposed, and we believe it meets the intent and the requirements of the town zoning ordinance. Does Jamie normally go through the conditions at this point, or is it open for discussion?
I usually goes through the conditions as well.
Okay, so with that said, the town of Waukesha Board may take the following action. They may approve the sign request for Stacy Peterson, the petitioner, agent, and Pine Hollow MIA LLC, the property owner, located at West 241, South 4145 Pine Hollow Court, Waukesha, Wisconsin, 53189, subject to the following conditions. That the sign shall comply with sections 13-2-15F for signs permitted in all business, industrial park, recreation, and public districts, and architectural approval and permit, and 13-2-15J, sign construction and maintenance standards of the Town of Waukesha Code of Ordinance. The sign shall be constructed and installed as presented to the Town of Waukesha Board on October 27th, 2016, and illustrated in the sign application, which is attached hereto and incorporated herein by reference. The petitioner property owner shall obtain the appropriate permits from the Town of Waukesha, and the petitioner property owner shall reimburse the Town of Waukesha for all costs and expenses incurred by the town in connection with the review and approval of this application, including but not limited to the cost of professional services incurred by the town for the review and preparation of required documents, attendance at meetings, and other related professional services.
Any questions for the planner? And do we have a petitioner here tonight? Good evening. Any questions for the petitioner?
Just if you could introduce yourself for us, please.
I'm Phyllis Johnson, I'm representing Stacy Peterson.
I'll make a motion to approve the sign permit with the following 4 conditions as outlined in the planner's report.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Nice to meet you.
Have a good night, guys.
You too.
Thank you.
On to the Waukesha County Agreement to provide salt for the 2016-2017 winter season. Supervisor Radke.
If the board remembers, back in the summer, we did discuss this somewhat. We've been in discussions with the county, and they had required or requested, I should say, a guesstimate as to how many tons of salt we anticipated we needed for the upcoming season. They did state that they had changed it and we're looking at a 5-year rolling average. We estimated, depending on snowfall counts and what the Farmer's Almanac tells us, which of course knows all, that we figure 1,000 tons plus the existing that we have in stock should be sufficient. So this is just verification of that they are fine with it, and it agrees to the pricing for the year, which is $69.13 per ton, which I don't remember the exact numbers from last year, but it's relatively close.
Any questions for Supervisor Radke?
Just a real quick one, a small item that in the letter there, the middle of the page there under item 1, where it says your current, or rather you requested 1,000 tons for this season. We will have adequate supply to meet your goal of 1,035 tons. What's the difference between 1,000 and 1,035? I know it's a small item.
35 tons.
All right, thank you. Touche.
70,000 pounds.
Touche, times $69.16.
I don't know. I didn't write that letter. That came from the county, but I'm sure.
Is it
we
maybe
can-
just a typo? I don't care that much. I mean,
I-
we're asking
I'm-
for 1,000 tons.
I'm thinking that what they meant is our average truly was 1,035 tons. And I asked for 1,000. How they got those numbers, I don't know.
Small potatoes. Thank you.
Small potatoes.
Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion that we accept this letter of agreement for Waukesha County for the salt agreement for the upcoming season.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. On to C, approval to create the position of part-time snowplow drivers and set a salary range. Supervisor Durr.
I'd like to make a motion to create 5 part-time snowplow driver positions with an hourly salary range of $15 to $28 an hour, with a total aggregate compensation not to exceed line item 100-53310-110. That's the line item in our budget for snowplow salaries. So that's my motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Got some questions?
And then? I think we handled it all in one, didn't we?
Did.
On to C, request for extension for Malcolm McNeil, non-compliance property at South 15 West 22356 Arcadian Avenue. We've got the non-compliance report from Martin Montoya, one of our building inspectors, regarding exterior of the home having exposed building paper without a finished material over it and require exterior of homes to be free of deterioration. Basically not cited. The house isn't cited and is in state of house wrap. And is Mr. McNeil here tonight? Good evening.
How are you?
Good yourself?
Very good.
Anything you want to share with the board?
Yes. I started the house, I bought the house 2.5 years ago. It was built in 1910. So there's a lot more work to the house than I expected. So we did a rather large addition to the house. And then the people that were assisting me with it moved to Green Bay. I did find a new contractor that is willing to assist me and break the project down so I can financially afford it. Some of the other contractors I talked to wanted, basically the whole project paid in advance up front. And I did find somebody that is willing to break the project down with me. So I brought copies of his quote that he emailed me, and another form that actually Martin suggested I bring in to show my status. So if I can present this to you.
Sure, absolutely.
This is the only form that Martin said to me, because I was doing most of the work myself. Unfortunately, my knees, my back kind of died. And then this is the contractor that is willing to start with me to get back on the job. He's doing a project out of town for the next 3 weeks.
We'll circle around. Our town code allows for, in town procedure allows for property owners who make substantial progress, the right to apply to the town board for an extension for time to comply. The request has to be made within 30 days of receipt of the letter, which was September 9th.
The receipt of the letter was September 9th?
Well, I'm looking at the date of the letter. September 9th, so is that correct?
That would be the date of the letter.
I think
but
that,
not-
I think
it
that
wasn't
might be a
mailed.
typo. If you read it, it says a special inspection was performed on September 15th.
Fair enough.
And if you look at the summary sheet here, it refers to 9/19, so I think it's probably just a typo on the letter.
Okay.
I have been doing most of the work on the inside myself. That I can do without ladders and things like that. It's the siding that is a problem with my knees, my back. So that's where I'm relying on the contractor to take care of that. The interior work I'm still doing myself.
Do you know how long it's been in house wrap?
They finished I want to say last fall. It's been about a year.
So what are the code issues that we're dealing with here? The completed within 2 years of permit issue date and the exterior home from having exposed building paper without finished material over it and require exterior of homes to be free of deterioration? When does your permit expire, or when did?
I think it expired. I called the number that I had for the building inspector in May and left a message that I was going to need an extension. And I did not get back to him. He didn't get back to me.
Okay,
So until I got the letter.
so you're probably on an expired permit.
Probably, yeah.
And that's easy to resolve, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yes,
you
I
can
would think
just
so.
Come in and get a new permit, right?
Okay. I'm not sure.
There's nothing that keeps them from getting a new permit, is there?
No.
Okay. So that issue should be easy to resolve.
Okay.
Do you agree?
Yes.
Okay,
yes,
so all
I
we're really
didn't know the
dealing with
process for
is,
that.
all we're really dealing with here is the exposed, what did they call it? Exposed building paper without finished material over it that requires it. Okay.
Quick question, and I'm not interested in any details, a simple answer, but did this come to our attention by means of a complaint? Do we know? Yes. Thank you.
Question, do you know what your time frame is to get the siding on?
Well, the front roof and the back roof have to be repaired before I do the siding. And that is, they're planning on starting that within the next 3 weeks, or as soon as he gets back into town. So I don't know exactly when they would be doing the siding, but I would assume it would be shortly thereafter. So it matters on their time and finances, how much they're able to break it down. So like I said, they were able to cut the 2 porches into 2 separate sections for me. So I'll pay for each of the porches, and then we'll start on the siding. So I was focusing on the interior because I was working by myself. I didn't realize that there was more of an issue with the outside.
Well, I guess the real question is, how long are you looking to ask for? I mean, the purpose of this meeting is for you to come and ask for an extension from us.
Mhm.
It can't be an open window saying, well, I don't know when the roofs will be done, and then winter will set in, and, you know, we need kind of a definite date for us to be able to make any kind of a decision.
I would request a year.
Well, that isn't gonna happen. I mean, it's been this way for a year.
Mhm.
Now you've got complaints coming through. You got a letter back in September. Now you're saying you want another year to be able to complete the exterior of it. I mean, typically we look at a month or 2 is about all that we would grant.
Well, has it been a year or 2.5 years?
No, it's been about a year that it's been completed and wrapped. The issue is, for me, is financial. You know, I'm doing the front porch and the back porch in 2 separate chunks. They're about $1,500 a piece, and then the big cost is going to be the siding. So, you know, mattering on how much I can get, basically how much I could save to put up front while they do the project. So that's a little bit of unknown, to be honest with you. But
Well, that makes it tough for us to make any kind of a decision.
I don't see how I could come up with the money to start the project or to do the project, the big project, in a month. And he won't even be back in town for 3 weeks. And he still has to do the other 2 porches before we can even start the siding.
Part of our problem is, you know, as you guys know, the town council relies heavily on past procedures. What we have done in the past is how we should dictate the future. And town procedure is those who make substantial progress, the right to apply to the town town board for an extension of time to comply. And if we haven't done that in the past, if that's how we followed, if that's what we've done in the past, it's very difficult for us to sway from that, because then we're not treating everybody equally. And so the question is, what kind of substantial progress has been made?
Like I said, I was focusing on the inside. I did all the flooring on the inside, all the drywall on the inside, all the trim work on the inside. You know, the outside now, like I said, the porches have to be done before the siding is even started.
And the interior work doesn't affect the exterior work that's not compliance. That's the problem.
Yeah, and I didn't know that there was a push for the outside until I received your letter, and I talked to Martin.
Question. Is the roof leaking?
No.
Why are you doing the roof first?
Where the porch roof meets up with the new addition, because it was a new addition we put on, where the roof meets the new addition, that we have to peel the shingles back and basically clean all that up. In doing so, we're going to re-roof the full porches instead of just patching it.
Clarify one more time, of these different elements of the outside work, you are retaining a contractor to do that? You're doing some of that yourself, or clarify that? please?
Well, I was doing the work by myself. I had people that were helping me at the beginning of the project. They did move out of town now. And now I've found a contractor that is, as he stated in his email, that he will be out of town for a few more weeks, but then as soon as he gets back in town, he's willing to start the project.
So a contractor is doing the outside work and you're not involved in that?
Yeah, he'll be doing it.
Okay.
So is that the request, a year?
Yes. And that's only because I don't know his schedule.
Gotta have a, we gotta have a conference, and we can either make a motion or do something.
So, sir.
Can we just explain that he can put that he could come back if he didn't make his first, Supervisor Radke just said that he wouldn't go a year, so.
Well, that's one of
So,
the
yeah.
four, but the bottom line is,
Supervisor Radke asked him what he was looking for, and he said a year, and Supervisor Radke rendered an opinion that that wouldn't happen. I mean,
Okay.
if that's what he wants to ask for, and somebody wants to make a motion,
Well, the only reason I
Move it
said
along.
that is because I don't know the contractor's schedule.
I understand.
You know,
but
and I
we
was,
just need a date so that we can move.
Yeah, and-
I guess I'll just offer a comment or response to that. If this issue about finances, that might be one thing, but I mean, if you can't get a contractor to do this work within a year, then you're talking to the wrong contractor. I don't mean that unkindly, but that doesn't fly. That explanation doesn't fly here to basically dump it off on the contractor's availability. Then you got the wrong contractor.
he stated in his letter that he'll be back in 3 weeks. And like I said, they have to do the 2 porches before we can start on the siding. So I don't foresee that taking long to do each of the porches. I'm not a contractor myself. I don't know if it would take a weekend to do each porch. I don't know. I wouldn't think it would take that long. So, and he is willing to work with me on the finances. So I think we would be making progress as soon as he gets back on the outside.
again, I'm going to go back to what substantial progress, and that substantial progress is supposed to happen within the 30 days from the letter to received to now. That puts us in a difficult position. Is there a motion for an extension?
Well, I can tell you this, I would not support a year. So if that's truly what you're asking, you're not going to have my vote for that. You may want to look at it a little closer and pare it down. I mean, I would think realistically to get this done to where it at least can pass, that it looks better and you won't have complaints, you're looking more like about 30 to 60 days.
Okay, well then I would.
I mean, now you're in the winter months, and I don't know how much of that you're going to want to do in, January, February.
Then I would request 60 days. He's not even going to be back in town for 3 weeks. That's going to take half of that time already. And I can start stripping the roof myself, I guess, if I have to. So it'll be prepped for him.
Well, then I'd make a motion that we give them a 60-day extension.
I'll second.
I'll second it.
I'll support the motion, just I guess as a matter of inquiry, so we move these things along. Would you accept a friendly amendment to ask Mr., is it McNeil, is that correct?
Yes.
to appear before us at the first meeting in December, so at least we can have a progress report. Would you accept that as a friendly amendment?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I'll support the motion.
That'd be December 8th.
Thank you.
Oh, wait, we have to vote yet.
Oh, sorry.
Anything further? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Opposed. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
On to accounts payable, authorization of payment of the bills. First in the amount of $6,770.99 for the Rupert Milky bill.
I move we pay that amount.
In a second.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Have to do roll call.
I'm sorry, roll call vote.
Chairman Merrick,
Yes.
Supervisor Durr,
Aye.
Supervisor Radke,
Aye.
Supervisor Wolf,
Aye.
Supervisor Fisher.
Abstain.
And for $96,931.10. Roll call vote, please, Madam Clerk.
I'll make a motion that we pay that. That's okay?
I'll second.
A little.
Supervisor Durr,
Aye.
Supervisor Fisher,
Aye.
Chairman Merrick,
Aye.
Supervisor Radke,
Aye.
Supervisor Wolf.
Aye.
And a motion for adjournment.
I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. We are adjourned. Thank you. So you want to make motions on everything before we vote on it, huh?